On the 75th floor, people from various races were purchasing food items at the food market. Some were just looking around, while some were trying to negotiate on lower price. One of them was Orin, who had come to the food market after being thrown out of the mansion. Orin tried to reduce the price of meat, but the shopkeeper was adamant about his fixed price. Orin then tried to negotiate with a fish seller, but that was more costly than meat. He became frustrated and shouted about what was going on. And why was the food so expensive? The little followers with Orin tried to reason with him that due to the ongoing war, some merchants on several floors had started buying in large quantities of food and hoarding it all instead of releasing it into the market. That must be the reason why food prices have soared. Orin grumbled that those blasted wandering merchants were being jerks. Then he thought that rather than buying food, he should take matters into his own hands and directly go to the farms to buy food at lower prices instead of relying on those vendors. With this awesome plan in his head, he suggested his followers go to the merchant association, and he had decided to become a wandering merchant. The followers became more and more convinced that the little shithead had no brain at all. Orin didn't notice that, and happily shared his plan that they should also become wandering merchants. And he would sponsor them. They all would multiply the money by 2 or 3 times and pile up the food like a mountain. He was sure that his father would become speechless. Yeah, the narrator agrees with the last sentence. Orin made a fist like grabbing some gold coins which was going in his head, that with 1,000 tower coins and all his merchant skill, he would multiply it into 10 times. He had made a perfect plan according to his standard, that when great famine would arrive, they would appear with food and would become a legend. Legend of Grana village, Orin and his underlings. He was still in his bubble dream when the scammer goblin greeted them from behind. He introduced himself as Skaram, a wandering merchant, and asked if they were planning to become wandering merchants too. Orin nodded his head in affirmation. The goblin suggested that he had something good and asked if they wanted to multiply their money with that. Orin asked what it was. Then Skaram made his signature deal that he had made with countless newbies. He asked Orin if he had heard anything about the things from outside the tower. Those were rare items that he could not get anywhere else. On the other side, on the 75th floor, Theo was counting the listed items that he had bought, like spices and blankets, and also the Sejun had asked for. He was in a shop telling the shopkeeper that he needed a few more boxes of nails too. After buying it and stuffing it into his magical bag, he came out of the shop. He was thinking of the next item that he had to buy, but at that moment he felt a pull toward the iron-made weapons and tools. His lucky paw was itching towards it. He went there and searched it, and asked the shopkeeper about the price. At that moment, Orin came from behind and acted like a bully. He commented, "That isn't this guy's name is Theo, who fled at night from the Grana village." Theo turned to look and became flustered seeing him and asked what brought him here. Orin smiled cheekily and showed him his lower-level wandering merchant badge. Theo noticed it and asked if he had become a wandering merchant. Orin laughed and replied that a lovely goblin had helped him, and he had told him that a stupid cat had made a lot of money, so he also wanted to give it a try. But Orin noticed that Theo was a mid-level merchant. He commented that he must have gotten ahead. And how much did he make with the items from outside the tower? Theo was shocked hearing this. He asked if he bought those things from Skaram. He told Orin that he might be a jerk, but that bastard Skaram was even a bigger jerk. He suggested Orin give those things to him, and he would take care of it. But the shithead slapped Theo's extended paw and replied, "What's up with him? He had heard everything, and he was becoming an ungrateful bastard." He countered that Skaram showed him generosity when Theo had nothing, but now he was bad-mouthing him, and lied to the Passage Management Bureau, calling him a scammer, just to claim all of the Skaram's items from outside the tower for himself. Theo tried to explain to him that he was deceiving him, but Orin did not listen at all. He told Theo that no matter how much he covets what other people have, he should know his place. He tisked angrily at Theo and told him to be within his league, like when he confessed to Merrill. a female cat, even though he was a lowly beggar small fry. And he laughed out loud. Theo sighed at his words, and he was totally convinced that arguing with this bastard was a waste of energy, and asked if Meryl was doing well. Orin acted like a lotus bitch. Even his little follower was shocked. He pretended to not know the female cat, but the little follower with him disclosed that the day he left to buy food, Meryl dumped him and told him that she didn't like him anymore. Seeing that his follower was not taking his side, Orin got angry and countered that Meryl didn't dump him, he was the one who dumped her. Theo patted his shoulder and coaxed him that Meryl had always been fickle, so don't take it to heart. But Orin got irritated by him and shouted that he thought he wanted to be comforted by him. And then he told his plan to Theo, that they would sell items from outside the tower to the Minotaur King of the 99th floor. He had heard from the goblin that the Minotaur King likes items from outside the tower. Orin was planning to use this as an opportunity to build rapport and make the strongest individual in the tower his dependable supporter. The bubble dream that he had created in his head was that if he just had a supporter, it wouldn't be a problem for someone like him with great talent to become a great wandering merchant. And then Orin taunted Theo that someone like him wouldn't even dare to dream about it. Theo stood there still with his eyes wide open, hearing his stupid words. The narrator is feeling pity towards Orin. Orin then left with his followers while laughing, and Theo could only wish him good luck with his awesome plan. After they left, Theo smirked. He was looking forward to seeing Orin on the 99th floor. On the 99th floor, the corrupted Ents had attacked once again. This time attack was on a large scale compared to previous ones. Queng and his mother were on the guard and continuously fighting. Sejun was standing on big chunks of dead Ents with a dagger on his waist, talking to the black rabbit that these Ents bastard were targeting Flame again. Then he commanded everyone to eat the red locust soup they had prepared earlier to boost their attack power. Everyone complied with this and gulped down the whole pot. Then a bunch of notifications popped up saying they had consumed combat food red locust soup. Strength had increased by 7.1 for the next 30 minutes, and satiation is maintained for next 3 hours. Sejun handed over the empty pot to the second poison queen bee, wiped his mouth, and then everyone prepared the stance for the attack. Sejun ordered that to show these bastard Ents what they were made of. Queng and the black rabbit took the front position of the battle. They charged towards the Ents. Queng's mother attacked the larger Ents, while Queng handled slightly smaller ones, and Sejun took care of the smaller ones. The black rabbit was slicing every Ents that were coming his way, and making it easy for Sejun, as he was the weakest of the group. The large corrupted Ents attacked from behind Sejun, but then the black rabbit interfered. Sejun noticed it too. The Ent was clever. He extended his extra branch towards Sejun to attack him. Sejun became nervous, as at any moment he was finished. But at that moment Theo came in between and sliced the branches into pieces. His eyes flashed with murderous intent that he would not tolerate any Ents that were going to attack his chairman. He jumped in the air, and with his sharp claws he sliced that large Ent into big chunks of meat, and then landed full of heroism. Sejun was excited to see Theo, who had come back. Theo asked his chairman what's up with these guys, and why are they attacking. Sejun replied that just after he climbed down to sell the cherry tomatoes, these bastards barged in, and they were corrupted trees. He also told Theo about the apple tree inside their cave called Flame. But Theo became confused with all the information and asked what he was talking about. But suddenly an Ent came from behind. Sejun got scared, but attacked with his claws and finished it in a second. Sejun suggested that they should get rid of these bastards first, and then talk afterward. Theo agreed, but then he remembered that he had brought something that would help him. Sejun asked him while fighting that what it was. Theo brought a weapon wrapped up in clothes and offered it to Sejun, and told him that this thing dragged his front paw onto it so strongly. Hearing this, Sejun became excited. He knew the power of the front paw, which always finds treasure. He happily called out to Aileen to appraise it. Aileen responded through the notification window that she had been watching. and took the wrapped weapon. The dragon used her skills and appraised it. The notification window stated that the tower manager had used her appraisal skill on the hatchet, and for completing the quest, Seijun sent 1 cherry tomato. When Seijun received the hatchet, it was shining. The system announced that he had acquired the great warrior Wooker's throwing hatchet. Seijun showed his cheeky smile upon reading the named item.